On New Year's Eve, my younger sister insisted on going back to our hometown for Tet. We ended up stuck on the highway. My sister-in-law, who was pregnant, suddenly went into labor. My brother rushed out of the car and was run over by a truck, dying instantly. I had food poisoning, didn't make it to the hospital in time, and was hanging on between life and death. By the time I drew my last breath, my parents were so devastated they lost their minds. Only my sister from that point on rose to glory like a kite catching the wind. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day before we were supposed to leave. I couldn't believe it. I pinched my cheek hard, the stinging pain clear and real. I wasn't dead. I rushed out of the room and saw my brother helping my sister-in-law pack. Thank goodness. They were still alive. That girl talking nonsense again, my mother said, then brought out a plate of dumplings. Eat up and pack your things. We're heading back home for Tet tomorrow. My dad chuckled as he helped clean the kitchen. I just stood there frozen, overwhelmed and disoriented. In my past life, we had agreed to stay in Beijing for Tet. My parents had already stocked up everything for the celebration. My sister Harmo Lin, who was always obedient and sensible, suddenly exploded and demanded to return home. I didn't have much of an opinion, but it was different for my sister-in-law. She was pregnant. My parents were worried something might happen during the trip and firmly refused. But Harmo Lin kept pestering everyone until my sister-in-law had to step in to calm things down. She said there was still plenty of time before the due date. Going home for Tet would be fine. No, if heaven gave me a second chance, I was not going to let that tragedy repeat itself. Mum, weren't we going to celebrate Tet in Beijing? Why the sudden change? Go ask your sister. She insisted on going back. I even told her your sister-in-law's pregnant, my mother said. My brother frowned. That's enough. Stop talking. My sister-in-law quickly cut in and held my hand. You went to bed early last night, so you didn't hear Mo Lin brought it up later. It's been a long time since we visited home. Everyone agreed this year we should go. At that moment, Harmo Lin came bouncing out of her room, cheerful and bright. Sis, come on, pack your stuff. We're leaving early tomorrow morning. I stared hard at her face, searching for any clue. Her eyes widened in innocent confusion. Sis, why are you looking at me like that? Is there something on my face? I pulled out a chair and sat down firmly. I don't want to go home. It's freezing and tomorrow's New Year's Eve. The roads are going to be packed. You want to get stuck for hours. My brother immediately chimed in. That's what I said yesterday, but no one listened. Oh, come on, sis. Everyone wants to go. Me sis-in-law, mum and dad too. Just come with us. Mo Lin wrapped her arm around mine sweetly. I scoffed. You're the one who wants to go. Stop dragging the whole family with you. Her expression changed instantly, her eyes brimming with tears. Sis, I just miss home, miss Grandma. We haven't been back in so long. Enough. All of you stop arguing over something so trivial. My dad slammed his hand on the table, his voice stern. Your mother, your sister-in-law and Mo Lin all want to go, only you two are against it. Majority rules, that's final. If you two don't want to go stay in Beijing, the rest of us will leave. I'm going too, my brother shot up, hugging his wife. Wherever my wife goes, I go typical fence-sitter. Fine then, but we're not taking the highway. If I couldn't change their minds, I had to change the route. Harmo Lin immediately protested. If we don't take the highway, how are we supposed to get there? We'll take the national road. In my past life, we got stuck on the highway. My sister-in-law's water broke unexpectedly. The ambulance couldn't make it in time. My brother ran out into the cold, shouting for help, looking for someone who knew how to deliver a baby. Then a truck coming from behind skidded and crushed him due to a blind spot. As for me, I ate the food Harmo Lin gave me and collapsed. My stomach twisted, lips turned purple, breathing became ragged. My parents panicked. My sister-in-law waited and waited until her amniotic fluid ran dry. But my brother never came. I never saw the ambulance either. My parents clutched both of us, crying until they could barely breathe. Then came news of my brother's death. Everyone in the family lost their minds on the spot. The police came to investigate. Harmo Lin simply said I was greedy and got food poisoning. She rushed to sign the paperwork to close the case. Then she demanded 5 million yuan in compensation from the truck driver's side. When they couldn't afford it, she had them thrown in jail. Later, all of my family's money and property fell into her hands. She even married a handsome husband and lived a carefree life of luxury. After much persuasion, the family finally agreed to change the route and take the national road. Since the national road would add quite a few kilometers, I suggested we leave tonight instead. I had already checked the weather and traffic, still a snowstorm, still traffic jams, but at least better than being stuck on the highway. If something really went wrong, we could still ask nearby villagers for an electric cart or something. On the highway, you'd just be waiting to die. Harmolin stormed off to her room in anger. I shouted deliberately loud, "If you're that upset, then don't come at all." If anyone claimed in my past life that she was just careless, I wouldn't believe it. Too many coincidences. My brother's death was a tragic accident, and our parents went mad from the shock. But my sister-in-law and I, that was definitely not a coincidence. That time we were stuck for half a day on the road. No villages in front, no stations behind, the nearest service stop miles away. The food we brought was nearly gone. Harmo Lin pulled out her favourite loaf of bread, pretending to be generous as she shared it with everyone. My brother gave his share to his wife out of love. My parents, always doting, insisted they weren't hungry. I, starving and delirious, gobbled mine down without suspicion. This time I came prepared loads of dried food. Before we left, Mum even made my favourite wontons. Her wontons were incredible, almost like the ones at Tianlishan. I ate until my stomach was tight and full. Everyone was cheerful, laughing and talking excitedly before we left. Only I felt uneasy, silently praying this time would pass without incident. As night fell, more cars crowded the national road. Snow was falling thick. The dashboard flashed it was -6 degrees outside. "Dad drives slower, the road's slippery," I reminded him. "Don't trust your old man's driving skills," he chuckled, but before he finished a sharp turn appeared ahead. He slammed the brakes. The car skidded, nearly hitting an oncoming vehicle. My heart pounded wildly, sweat beading on my forehead. Mum scolded him loud and sharp, "The snow's thick. Can't you drive more carefully? The whole family's in this car." Dad went quiet and eased off the gas, driving more cautiously. The car crawled along. The heater was too warm and made everyone drowsy. I glanced over at Harmo Lin. There was no joy in her face, even though we were heading back to her beloved hometown. Her eyes drifted unsettled. My sister-in-law leaned on my brother's shoulder, half asleep. I closed my eyes too. There was still a long way to go. Suddenly, Harmo Lin pulled out a small piece of bread from her bag and cheerfully offered it to my sister-in-law. "Sis wants some bread." My eyes snapped open. Of course she was trying to poison her. I reached out to snatch the bread, but my brother was faster, blocking me. "She's not hungry. If she's not hungry, then fine." "What are you so worked up for?" Harmo Lin pouted, pretending to be hurt. Something felt off. Could it be that my brother also? The doctor said her glucose tolerance test came back borderline, so she has to cut back on sweets. "Give it to me. I'll eat it later if I get hungry." I had overthought it. If he had come back too, he should know there was poison in the bread. But it still seemed strange. In my past life, he gave all his food to his wife out of love. Harmo Lin was about to pass him the bread when he suddenly snatched it himself. "You like this bread, right? I'll let you have it. Don't fight. I've got plenty. Hey, Mo." Lin pulled out more bread from her bag with a generous grin. "No need? Really, no need." Both my brother and I refused in near unison. He refused me, and I refused her. Harmo Lin looked back and forth between us, puzzled, watching closely. Then my mother spoke up. "I'm a bit hungry. Give me one." I took a deep breath, then quickly grabbed all the bread from Harmo Lin's bag and threw it out the car window. I gave an awkward smile and explained, "Since Sis can't eat sweets, let's all skip it. If we're suffering, let's suffer together." My brother nodded in agreement. Harmo Lin's face darkened immediately. The car turned onto a smaller road. The path was bumpy. My sister-in-law began to feel nauseous. Maybe tell Dad to pull over for a bit so we can get some air, I suggested. It's okay, a little water should help, my brother said as he reached to open a bottle. Ha-Mo Lin jumped in quickly. She's pregnant. She can't have cold water, I've got warm water here. She reached her cup toward my sister-in-law's forehead. I instinctively moved to stop her, but my brother was faster. He took the cup. Just then the car jolted violently. The water spilled everywhere. You're so clumsy, my sister-in-law said, brushing at her clothes. Sorry, my brother apologized over and over, sheepish and embarrassed. I was thrilled inside. This time it really felt like fate was on my side. Ha-Mo bit her lip just like a child caught red-handed playing dirty. Small as she was, her schemes were anything but innocent. I checked the map again. The upcoming stretch was flagged red for congestion. 3 spots ahead were prone to traffic jams. How about we stop and eat something hot first? The whole family pulled over at a roadside diner. We had barely sat down when my sister-in-law suddenly clutched her stomach in pain, her face draining of colour. I panicked. The same scene from my past life flashed before my eyes. I had thrown away all the bread and no one drank Ha-Mo-Lin's water. So why was this still happening? My brother fumbled for his phone, trying to call an ambulance. I took a deep breath. I had to stay calm. Panic would only make things worse. In my previous life, the ambulance never made it due to the traffic. Poisoned and in pain, I had to watch helplessly as my sister-in-law sat in a puddle of amniotic fluid with no one able to help. Uncle, is there a hospital nearby? I rushed into the kitchen to ask. The nearest one's over 10 kilometers away, he said. I pulled out my phone and checked the route, completely red with traffic. This was bad. Brother, forget waiting for an ambulance. Borrow the diner's electric scooter and take her to the hospital now. Just after he left, a sharp pain twisted in my gut, like my intestines were being wrung. No way. Was I poisoned too? I couldn't believe it. I turned to Ha-Mo. Her eyes were cold lips curled into a bone-chilling smirk. How I had disrupted her plan. How was this still ending the same? I immediately told Dad to borrow an electric scooter from a nearby household to take me to the hospital. Snow fell thick, the road was slick, and we were in such a rush we hadn't even put on raincoats. I was trembling all over from the cold. Just hang in there, sweetheart. We're almost there, Dad urged. My whole body was limp, breath shallow, as if someone was squeezing my throat. Dad, if I'm just saying if I don't make it, don't be sad. Being your daughter in this life has already been a blessing. Dad pedaled hard, gripping my arms tightly around his waist. Nonsense, don't talk like that. It's just stomach pain, not a death sentence, but I really felt like I was dying. In my past life, I vomited blood until my lips turned black, just like in a tragic drama. I had no strength left. At the hospital gate, I saw someone squatting at the entrance. It was my brother. Brother, is she okay? Did the baby make it? I clutched his shirt, terrified. He suddenly burst into tears, eyes red. My heart skipped a beat. A wave of dread flooded over me. Don't tell me. She lost the baby after all. He shook his head. I began crying uncontrollably. Then what happened? She's always been so kind to me. I've long seen her as my real sister, your sister-in-law. Her amniotic fluid was blocked on both sides. By the time she got to the hospital, it was too late. She didn't make it. No way, I sobbed. All the pain and fear I had suppressed these past days exploded in an instant. Why? Where did it all go wrong? I blame myself, pounding my chest. It's all my fault. If I had insisted harder, if I hadn't let everyone go back home for Tet, maybe none of this would have happened. I thought I could change everything, save the whole family. How stupidly confident I was. Like a zombie, I stumbled up to the 3rd floor and opened a window. The icy wind slapped my face, but I felt nothing. Blood spilled from my mouth, splattering onto the dirty snow below. Looks like I wouldn't survive either. I jumped. In a hazy blur, I thought I heard someone calling my name. Ha Nim, it was my sister-in-law's voice. I opened my eyes weakly, my head spinning. Sis, you're not dead. You're really here. I threw myself into her arms, crying. My brother pushed the door open and glared at me. Were you cursing my wife to die? No, you were the one who said she didn't make it. Something felt off, very off. Where am I? A hospital? My mind froze like a stalled computer, so it was just a dream. I jolted awake and immediately scanned my sister-in-law from head to toe. Sis, are you okay? Is the baby all right? Don't worry, everything's fine, she smiled. Did the doctor say what caused your stomach pain? I asked, anxious to know the reason. Her eyes avoided mine slightly, and my brother quickly cut in. The doctor said she's fine. You should worry about yourself instead. Me, didn't I get poisoned? Or was I somehow cured? I rushed to the doctor's office in a panic. Doctor, what kind of poison did I ingest? He looked puzzled. Poison? You just had an allergic reaction. And my sister-in-law, what about her stomach pain? She didn't complain about any pain. She only came here to take care of you. My heart sank. They were definitely hiding something from me. What I had just experienced might have been a dream, but her pain at the diner and my brother's panic were real. They'd never joke about the baby unless they were deliberately acting. The thought sent chills down my spine. Why would they put on a show and harm Lynn when I was writhing in pain, that sinister look in her eyes? There was no way that was fake. Back in my hospital room, a nurse came to inform me that I'd had a severe allergic reaction to soy, leading to anaphylactic shock. But I hadn't eaten anything, had I? Just once before getting off the car, my brother had handed me a piece of cake. Could it be that cake? I was jolted, overwhelmed by a flood of emotions. At that exact moment, the door swung open. No doubt about it, he'd mixed soy flour into that cake. My mind went blank. He knew full well I was allergic to soy, and yet… Tears welled up in my eyes as I stared at the brother I loved most. How could you do that to me? If I hadn't, how else would Dad believe you were really poisoned? I froze, staring at him in disbelief. Don't tell me you… He nodded. And you? I turned to my sister-in-law. You too? I asked. I nodded hard. My brother let out a small laugh. If I'd known you were reborn too, I wouldn't have wasted my brain cells coming up with that elaborate script. I couldn't hold back the joy. It felt like stumbling through thick fog only to find an ally waiting, so overwhelmed I was speechless. So it turned out my brother had been reborn 2 days earlier. At first, he'd been just as confused, hugging his wife and crying for ages before finally telling her everything. She didn't believe him at first, not until he installed a camera in the living room to monitor Harmo Lynn's actions. Turns out she didn't spike the bread. She had poisoned the wontons our mum made, which only my sister-in-law and I liked to eat. After watching the footage, my sister-in-law finally believed him, and they hatched a plan together. Because time was tight and they needed the scene to feel real, and they were afraid I wouldn't believe them, they decided not to tell me. Then, if you already had evidence, why didn't you go to the police? I asked. He shook his head. What about yesterday? I saw you both eat a whole lot of wontons. My sister-in-law chuckled. Those your brother swapped them out long before. You were eating wontons from the Tianli Shang shop down the street. My brother shot me a look. I twitched. Playing favourites, huh? She pretended. I nearly went into anaphylactic shock for real. If there hadn't been a hospital nearby, I'd be dead. I had anti-allergy meds ready from the start. You freaked out and panicked. That's why your symptoms got so dramatic. It was all in your head. I twitched again. Last night, after Dad took me to the hospital, my brother made up an excuse for Dad to head back first, then quietly updated the doctor on our situation. He said he wanted to investigate why Harmo Lynn had gone after both me and our sister-in-law. When Mum called to ask how we were doing, he brushed it off with vague reassurances. When we returned to the roadside diner, Harmo Lynn approached us, feigning concern. Sister-in-law, big sis, are you two okay? We're fine. Doctor said it was just food poisoning. Good thing we got there in time, I replied casually, gauging her reaction. She frowned slightly, looking unconvinced. Snow had fallen all night, blanketing the road so heavily that the signs were barely visible. Dad, why are there so few cars on this road? Harmo Lin asked. The highway had been packed earlier, but now the surroundings were eerily deserted. Looks like we took a wrong turn, my brother said, poking his head out the window. Dad banged the dashboard. Seems like the GPS is frozen. Where the hell are we, Mr. Ha? Can't you even drive without messing up? Mum snapped. If you're so great you drive, Dad shot back. The car erupted into chaos. Enough, check your phones for maps, my brother cut in. I pulled out my phone and my face turned pale. No signal, me neither, my sister-in-law gasped. The air inside the car grew heavy. Everyone went silent slowly, realizing how serious the situation was. What now? Where even are we? It's New Year's Eve. Are we really going to spend it stranded out here? Harmolin was on the verge of tears. This is your fault. You insisted on taking the national road. And now look, stuck in the middle of nowhere, I sneered. And you thought the highway wouldn't be jammed. We pulled over, worried about our sister-in-law getting cold. Dad kept the engine running for heat and cracked a window for ventilation. Our food and water ran out fast. Night fell and the temperature plunged. Even with the heater on, snow and wind seeped through the gap in the window. Harmo Lin started shivering and begged to switch seats with me. My limbs were already numb from the cold. She trembled. Someone think of something. Are we just going to freeze to death here? I told her to shut up and conserve energy. She didn't listen and kept whining. Have you heard the story about the no man's zone? There was this famous adventure blogger who drove into the wilderness. His car tire blew out from the cold and he thought he was done for, but the team leader found him. I paused on purpose. Then what? He got rescued, my sister-in-law asked nervously. I shook my head. The team leader's car broke down too. It was minus 40 degrees. The two of them huddled together in the car for 3 days and nights and froze to death. Harmo Lin flinched. Han Yim. What are you even thinking? Are you wishing the whole family would die here? I shrugged. Pretty much. It's bad. The dashboard shows it's minus 40 outside, my brother exclaimed. Harmo Lin began crying. Suddenly, the car's heating system shut off. What happened? Are we out of gas? Mum asked. No way, I just checked we still have 3/4 of a tank, Dad replied, trying to restart the car, but it wouldn't turn over, Hatrak. Go check. Aren't you the best mechanic in the family? Mum called. My brother nodded and tried to open the door, but it wouldn't budge. Crap! The doors are frozen shut. We're locked in. Oh God, what do we do now? Are we really going to freeze to death out here? Harmolin trembled like a leaf. I scoffed. In my past life, she destroyed our entire family. Funny how she wasn't so scared then. Right then, the lights in the car flickered a few times and went completely dark. We were plunged into pitch black. What's happening? My mother asked in panic, her voice beginning to tremble. Maybe. The electrical system froze too, my brother said from the darkness, voice slightly shaky, but trying to stay calm to reassure us. Harmolin started sobbing. Her quiet weeping filled the silence and made the atmosphere even more suffocating. Stop crying, Harmolin. That won't help anything, I said, trying to keep my voice steady, but it too began to tremble. In the darkness, we huddled close, trying to warm ourselves with body heat and breath. But as time passed, the temperature in the car kept dropping. Our breathing grew shallow and uneven. If this keeps up, we really will freeze to death, my sister-in-law murmured, her voice laced with despair. My brother turned on his phone flashlight and gently placed his hand on her belly, his voice choked. Even if we die, at least we'll all die together. Maybe that's mercy in itself. Harmolin's sobbing abruptly stopped, replaced by a furious outburst. Who the hell wants to die with you people? She suddenly lunged at me, yanking my hair like a madwoman. If it wasn't for your stupid idea, I wouldn't be stuck in this godforsaken place. My parents panicked. Harmolin, what are you doing? She's your sister, my mother screamed. Let go of her. It felt like she was ripping my scalp off. I clenched my teeth against the pain. Above me, I heard a cold, bitter laugh. Hi! You call that my sister? The moment the words left her mouth, the air in the car turned to ice. My mum quickly interjected. What nonsense are you saying? If she's not your sister, then who is? She burst into hysterical laughter. You're still trying to hide it from me now. My dad immediately sensed something was wrong and shouted, Harmo Lynn, shut your mouth. You always act so high and mighty. I've had it with you. The most useless one in this whole family is you, always preaching about unity and harmony. Smack. My mother was so furious her chest was heaving. She slapped her across the face. I finally let out a sigh of relief. At least my hair was still intact. How dare you talk to your father like that? My mother roared. Harmolin clutched her face, eyes blazing, and screamed, Who the hell are you to hit me? Are you even my real mother? Then she suddenly laughed maniacally. My mother. If you were really my mother, why do you only ever hit me but never harnyem? Or is it because she's your real daughter and I'm just some stray you picked up? The moment she said it, the car fell dead silent. We all stared at each other in shock. Harmo Lynn was adopted. My parents had never said anything. I turned to look at them. They stood frozen, voices shaking. How long have you known? Since I was 5. That year I overheard a conversation between him and Grandma, she said coldly. Some neighbours were gossiping, saying the third daughter in the Ha family wasn't their real kid. Grandma warned Dad to be careful and not let me hear. Dad said, Don't worry, Mum. Ever since you brought her home, you've told me 1,000,000 times to keep it a secret. Grandma sighed. She's the daughter of an old comrade. His whole family's gone. Before he died, he begged me to take care of her. So it was true. Harmolin really wasn't our biological sibling. Even I wasn't as stunned as my older brother, who always seemed calm. He was completely blindsided. Harmolin's eyes sparkled with vicious resentment as she went on. Since that day, I tried so hard to be obedient, sensible, afraid they'd hate me. Every time I wanted something, I had to hesitate for days before asking. But what about Hanyim? She got whatever she wanted. She's no better than me, average grades, nothing special, but she got to live carefree in this house. Because she's their real daughter and I'm not, smack. This time the slap came from me. Mum and Dad never treated you differently. In this house you were always our sister. You're the only one who saw yourself as an outsider. Favoritism. When you had that high fever, Mum stayed up 2 days straight watching over you until she collapsed. You wanted to study your dream major. Dad had just lost his job, but he still gave you every cent of his savings. All these years, their love for you, you never saw it. Your hatred and jealousy blinded you. Ha ha. That's right. They were only good to me because I behaved. If I'd been like you, rebellious with awful grades, would they still have loved me? She was completely unhinged now, truly lost all reason. I was trembling with rage. Then what about our brother and sister-in-law? He always treated you better than me growing up. How could you harm her? You knew she was pregnant. I still remembered when we were little, whenever we got into trouble, our brother always defended her. She clutched her face and glared at my sister-in-law with venom in her eyes. If that woman hadn't shown up, my brother would have only ever loved me. She stole his love. You're insane. I stood frozen, unable to believe those words came from her. My brother looked like his soul had left him. I saw you as my real sister, and you. Harmolin wiped her tears away and said coldly, We're not even related by blood. So what if I love you? I was stunned. Each word stabbed like a knife. I never imagined the truth would be this horrifying. So it was you. You knew I loved Mum's wontons, same as my sister-in-law, so you poisoned them, didn't you? Poison. My parents looked confused, faces filled with panic. Harmolin froze at first, then burst into maniacal laughter. No wonder I was suspicious. That poison was potent. How the hell did you both recover so fast? Turns out you knew I laced the food and decided to put on a show for me. My parents were horrified. I can't believe this. What are you kids saying? Molin, did you really try to poison your sister and sister-in-law? My brother and I explained everything, our memories from the previous life and the video capturing her spiking the food. My mum clutched her chest in rage, shouting, "You monster! This is pure evil!" My dad slammed his fist on the steering wheel. Beep! A sudden sound echoed, and the darkness inside the car lit up again. Brother, quick, turn on the heat. I shivered violently, blowing into my hands for warmth. My brother immediately restarted the heater and called for roadside assistance. Hamo Lin was frozen in shock. How? How is the car working again? Weren't our phones out of signal? My brother pulled out a small black device, pressed a button, and a red light blinked. My parents looked confused. What's that, son? A signal jammer. Turns out my brother had already suspected her while we were still at the hospital. He wanted to find out exactly why she wanted to harm me and our sister-in-law. Before we set off, he had planned everything. He pretended to oppose the trip, our sister-in-law pretended to agree, so he reluctantly joined. While everyone was at the hospital, he stayed back to tweak the car's starter and tracking system. Harmolin's face twisted in fury. "You set me up." "All of you," I spoke coldly. "If we hadn't, how else would we get you to show your true face?" I waved my phone. "I recorded everything you just said, combined with the video of you spiking the food." I tilted my head, mocking her. "Harmo Lin, you can spend New Year's Eve behind bars." She panicked and clung to my arm, begging, "Please don't do this." "Sis, Mum, Dad, Big Brother, you raised me since I was little. We're family. How can you send me to jail? Besides, no one died. The drug wasn't even lethal." I yanked my arm free and sneered. "Now you remember we're family. Do you even realize how badly you destroyed us in our past life? Her past life? Don't make me laugh. You made all that up just to kick me out of this house. Still denying it, huh? You knew the expressway would get jammed. You timed it so me and our sister-in-law would eat those drugged pastries and fall ill on the road too late for rescue. And if anyone investigated, the food came from Mum. What would that have to do with you, right? I only used a small dose. I wasn't trying to kill anyone. It's your fault for being so greedy. No wonder in the last life sister-in-law's water broke while I was the one poisoned severely." My mum stepped forward and slapped her hard across the face. "I fed you, clothed you, gave you a proper education, and this is how you repay me, by trying to hurt my daughter-in-law. Has the Ha family not treated you well enough? You ungrateful thing." "Ha!" Molin laughed hysterically. "Aha! Then let me ask you this. If it had been Han Yim who drugged the food, would you have handed her over to the police?" The whole car fell silent. "Of course, your own blood will always be your own blood," I said coldly. "I'm not you. Don't compare me to yourself. I would never harm my own family." Not long after the rescue team arrived to tow our car, Dad said, "Should we call Grandma, ask what she wants to do?" My brother and I both stopped him immediately. She's too old to handle a shock like this. As for Harmo Lin, she's legally an adult. She has to be responsible for what she's done. We called the police and handed over Harmo Lin along with all the evidence. How she would be dealt with was no longer our concern. From that moment on, she was no longer the third daughter of the Ha family. The rest of the trip was completely silent. After 11 hours on the road, we finally returned to our hometown. Everything looked just the same as before. Grandma had cleaned the front yard and was waiting at the door to welcome us home. "Hey, where's Xiaolin? Didn't she come with you?" We all answered in sync. "She went abroad for school, Grandma. Their New Year isn't on the same day as ours." Grandma nodded. "That girl's always been sharp. You could tell she's clever just by looking at her." I helped Grandma sit down and chatted with her. The bustling, glamorous city still couldn't compare to the peaceful warmth of home. Grandma's fish stew was tender and fragrant. Mum's dumplings were plump and inviting. Dad's braised pork was richly seasoned and beautiful in colour. Every dish was filled with family love and blessings for a peaceful new year. This year, I hope we won't dwell on the past, won't fear the future, and won't let life down. Happy New Year to everyone. This time, I'm no longer blind. I've learned to doubt when needed, to read every glance and every gesture carefully. I'm no longer the pawn being manipulated. I'm the one holding the flag in the game of fate. And thankfully, I'm not alone. My brother, my sister-in-law, those who truly love me are still here rebuilding with me the home that once collapsed. At last, I've come to understand kindness alone can't protect anyone. Only when you're clear-headed and strong enough do you deserve a second chance at life. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed a relaxing and captivating storytelling experience. If you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Your support gives me the motivation to create more amazing content.